Hey everyone, today is Saturday, the 2nd of February. And I have a D&D game today. I have a D&D game tomorrow. And today I'm playing 4th edition as Spike. And tomorrow I will be replacing my combat medic with a Psion. I spent, must have been most of yesterday making that Psion. The hardest part is always buying the equipment because you never really know. Things aren't final until you've got all your stuff. Even still, though, there are a couple of things I need to do. I have 1,100 gold left on my character. I need to figure out some way of spending that, or at least some of it. Mundane items, yeah, that's fine. But also, I need a name. And the name is the hardest part of coming up with any character. I'm thinking like Zoltan or something like that because that's just a cool name. But, and I spent a lot of time writing out his powers, and then I went over some of them today, and I'm pretty cool with his power selection. I had to throw out Psionic Identify, though, because that is stupid. That is a stupid power. It is exceptionally stupid. Stupid, 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 stupid. Normal Identify requires several material components, but most expensive out of all of it is it requires a 100 gold piece, a pearl valued at 100 GP, okay? And that's what makes it annoying. Every time you have to have the pearl, and it burns the pearl. You need like a wine. You need wine, a goblet, and an owl feather, and then you crush up the pearl into the wine, and you stir it with the owl feather, and you drink it, and you cast Identify. That's part of it. So normally, if you go into town, you can pay a wizard to cast Identify on something for 110 gold. 10 gold for their time, and 100 gold for the material components of the spell. Psionic Identify has a casting time of 1 day. And cast all I want. We're not doing anything for a long time. If we have a pile of magic items, I will spend eternity identifying them. Psionic Identify is stupid. Make it a higher level power and reduce the casting time, you whack jobs. Unfortunately, 3.5 isn't being made anymore, so there's no fixing that. So, yeah, that's just irritating as hell. And I know the sorceress in our wizard master summoner in our party, she doesn't have Identify. So every time we need something identified, we would have to leave the dungeon and go get identified. And that really kind of drags things down a bit. Now, that said, I do have True Seeing, so I don't know how that affects anything, but probably not. Probably still going to have to, what have you. Ugh. I'm nervous about Sunday because I don't know how well my Psion is going to go over. I don't have a lot of those, save someone from dying immediately things like my cleric had. I mean, he had prepared an immediate action a spell called Delay Death. If someone falls down, he can immediately cast it on them, and they can go into negative whatever hit points, and it doesn't matter. As long as I get them back up into the living realm before the spell runs out, we're good. And there's nothing like that for the Psion. There's Psionic Revivify, which is stupid because of the XP cost. 200 experience points from me to cast it, to manifest it. And then for every round that the guy has been dead, I have to pay 100 experience and he has to pay 100 experience. Yeah, it's really irritating. But barring death, I don't have any other power that requires experience. I mean, I have one called Cranial Deluge, where you cause the guy's skull to fill with fluid, and it deals 18d6 damage to them if they fail their save. If they pass their save, nothing happens. But if they fail their save, and so they take that 18d6 damage, which is anywhere between 18 and whatever 18 times 6 is. And I'm not going to do it in my head. That's 36 times 3, so that's 72, 108 damage maximum. Anywhere between 18 and 108 damage. If that happens to drop them below, like to 0 or below, their head explodes. Not just like, dead, doing it, that's cool. Another one is called Psychic Crush, where I crush their will so hard, they go from whatever hit points they have immediately down to -1 and dying. I'm looking forward to trying these out. I did get rid of Death Ward, no, not Death Ward, Death Urge. You manifest a power on them, and they try to kill themselves. And for every certain number of power points you spend, they try again in subsequent rounds to kill themselves somehow, like jumping off a cliff, or hitting themselves with their own weapon, or intentionally provoking attacks of opportunity from your allies, that sort of thing. I got rid of that, and I also got rid of Mind Wipe, because that bestowed negative levels on an enemy, and I didn't want... Negative levels are a pain in the ass. I hate having them affected to me, but with the DM trying to keep track of all these monsters, and if I'm mind wiping everybody, that's too much for him to keep track of, and I'm just trying to be courteous here. Plus, I personally think it's a dick move. So, but, I mean, aside from that, remembering he has 2 negative levels. Okay, so negative levels do these things, and it's a list. And if I hit a wizard with that, or a cleric with that, they're going to lose spells off their list, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I'm not going to worry about that. What I did instead, though, my DM found a power online called Channel Power. Now, originally it was posted with the 3.0 rule set for psionics, but someone converted it on the forums to 3.5 with augment rules and all that stuff. And he said, okay, I'll be nice and I'll let you have the 3.5 version of it. So I went ahead and I took that. It's a 2nd level power, and what it does is it lets me take a personal only power and put it on somebody else. So I have to manifest this power first, then I can manifest another power and put it on somebody else. And normally the power is a standard action to manifest. So it would be like I cast it turn it on one turn, and the next turn I cast my other thing. But what the augments do is they say you spend 2 extra power points, it turns it from a standard into a move. If you spend 4 extra power points, it turns it from a standard into a swift. And if you spend 4 extra power points, you can then, instead of turning whatever personal power you were going to use from a touch to, from personal to touch, like the power does, it makes it from personal to close range, so I can buff someone way the hell away. Well, 55 feet away at this level. It's 25 feet plus 5 feet per 2 levels, and I'm level 13, so that's plus 30 for level 12, and, you know. And so I have that ability. So I started picking up buffs. So I have freedom of movement. I have energy adaptation. I have my inertial armor. I have vigor, which gives temporary hit points. I have... What else did I pick up? Animal affinity, which currently, if I spend 13 power points on it, I can give it to someone and they will have +4 to 3 different stats. So that's pretty cool. For, I think it's like a minute a level. 13 minutes. So I like that. I really do. Also, I managed to choose my feats. I didn't take the deep vision feat. What I wound up doing is I talked it over with my DM. He's like, no, most of the party has 60-foot dark vision anyways, and actually I think the entire party does. And 90 feet of dark vision isn't really going to be significant enough to really help where we're going, because he said Drow have 120 feet dark vision, which I don't think they do, but I could be wrong. And the... most of my powers are effective close range. So that's with 55 feet. If I have 60-foot dark vision, I'm good. If I can see it, I can cast on it, typically. With the 90-foot, The only stuff I can get out that far are my medium range powers, and they have a max range of, they're medium range, so that's 100 feet plus 10 feet per level, so that's 230 feet right there. I mean, unless there's sufficient light out that far, all combat's going to be kind of close range. We're also fighting underground, so, you know, what are you going to do? So I ixnayed the whole deep vision thing, get an extra 30 feet of dark vision while psionically focused or something like that. And I picked up mercantile background. My DM allowed it because he said it's based on the region you're from, not necessarily your species, and because I'm playing a species that inserts itself among humans, it makes perfect sense to have a human regional feat. So I'm from Am, I'm a Synad, so I look like, I'm just a really tall, bald human. And if there's any dim light and I'm out of power points, you'll see like two ghost faces like next to mine. But that's really the only way you can identify who I am. So I took mercantile background, and that allowed me, because we have a house rule that says in character creation you can use mercantile background once, I think. The DM was cool with it, and I was able to buy the Torque of Power Preservation from the Expanded Psionics Handbook. There's 2 torques of power. A torque is like a necklace of some sort. Well, I think it's like an armband or a choker or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It takes the slot of an amulet on your character. So what the difference between the 2 torques is the one in the Magic Item Compendium came out later. It costs like 4,000 gold, and you can only use it 5 times a day, and all it does is 5 times a day you reduce the power point cost of a power you're manifesting by 1 to a minimum of 1. So that's cool. It's great for a lower level character or, you know, low magic campaign, whatever. But the original Torque of Power Preservation was 36,000 gold, and that one made it so that you paid 1 less power point on all your powers, minimum 1, all the time. Now, for someone whose primary ranged abilities, you know, his primary abilities depend on having that pool of power points, yeah, I'm gonna want that. So I used mercantile background, and what this is, it's a regional feat from the Player's Guide of Faerun. And once a month, you can use there's an ability you can use that reduces that gives you a 75% value on the item you're buying. You can buy an item for 75% of its full value. So instead of paying 36,000, I paid 27,000 because we started at level 13. The gold cap for any one item is a quarter of the gold you start with. We started with 110,000 gold. Because I picked a region, I started with 110,300, and then because I started with mercantile background, I actually started the game with 110,600 gold. So that meant that any one item could not go over 27,650 or something like that. And so I bought an item for 27,000. So that's like a quarter of my money right there. But it gives me combat capabilities and extends my functionality throughout whatever campaign we're doing. So, you know, I really shelled out for that one. And then I picked up, I have a Psi Crystal, which is a little, you know, gemstone with a personality and a mind, and I can command it to move around as a spider would or fly around or what have you. Most of the time it's probably just going to be in my pocket. And then I can bestow my psionic focus into it, which is another feat I took to do that, called psionic containment. So I will have the ability to use my focus twice without having to get it back. And then I took the feat that made it so that I can get my focus while only spending a move action to do it instead of a full round, which is great. So I can spend a full round and get my focus and then put a focus into the Psi Crystal, which is brilliant. And then I have 2 feats that are, like, one is the improvement on the first one. And it's called Psionic Endowment. I use my focus, I pop it, expend it, to increase the difficulty check on whatever power I'm manifesting with it. So because I have Psionic Endowment and Greater Psionic Endowment, that is a +2 to the DC of whatever power I'm manifesting, to make it harder for the enemy to resist the abilities. And then meta magic or meta psionic powers feats I took were I took extend power instead of maximize. For one, extend is cheaper. It's two. You sacrifice your focus, you expend your focus, and then you spend 2 more power points, and you can take any of the variable values and multiply them by 1.5. So, like, I have a power called Body Adjustment, and it heals 1d12 hit points. So I roll the d12, and then I multiply that value by 1.5, and there you go. That's expend. That's what Empower Power does. I think I said extend. I have Empower. And then the other one I got was called Twin Power, where I spend 6 power points and expend my focus, and I hit it twice. So whatever power I did, however much augment I did, it happens twice for just an extra 6. And so, I mean, like, the most I could spend on that power would be 7, because I'm level 13. The most power points you can spend on a power is your level, your manifestor level worth. So, yeah, I would be able to spend 13 power points total, so it'd be 7 on the power. Oh, maybe Twin wasn't as good as... No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But it affects the area or the target or whatever twice. So if nobody's in the area for the second one, meh. But yeah, that'll certainly help later on. And I'm quite certain I thoroughly bored everybody about that. So, but I am excited to play this character. I'm looking forward to it. You'll probably have to deal with me talking to the camera again at least tomorrow and maybe Monday. But I still don't know what I'm going to be doing for my gameplay videos, because I really do enjoy making gameplay videos. I like sharing my experiences with people, regardless of how few people actually watch them. It's just enjoyable for me to do, and it helps pass the time. And so someone mentioned Planescape Torment. I don't know how well that's going to go. I have issues recording DOSBox, and I don't know if Planescape is running in will run in DOSBox or in Windows. So I don't remember. I do have a copy of it on CD, but my CD player doesn't work on my computer anymore. It keeps spitting it out. I think there's an issue with one of the drivers for the bar where I can hit eject, because that doesn't work anymore. So what? Instead of fixing that, I could always just go to Good Old Games and download a copy for dirt cheap, or it might be on Steam. I don't know. Probably not. Or the original Baldur's Gate. Now, I've played the original Baldur's Gate. I've beaten the original Baldur's Gate. I know kind of what to expect. I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't know about that. Planescape Torment, I've never beaten. I do remember it being very hard, and if I do actually play that game, I would be following a walkthrough the entire time. Just because I don't want to get lost, and I don't want to get... well, mostly I don't want to get lost. But I also don't want to die, because that's kind of embarrassing. So yeah, I'm thinking about several games. I do like the idea of going to the older games, because, you know, if you haven't played it, you probably never will, and don't have to worry about spoilers that way. I felt a little uneasy about doing the Bounty Hunter storyline in Tor, because I was worried, since it's still a relatively new game, my friends wouldn't want to watch it because they didn't want to spoil it if they ever felt like picking up the game. Now that it's free to play, so. Another option was definitely to do a playthrough of Mass Effect. The issue there is I would be tempted to just do storyline missions again, because the side quests are everywhere. So, but anyways, I suppose that's enough of my rambling for today on psionics and gaming. So, I have a new chair, in case you hadn't noticed. And until next time.